Well, based on your social media hits, Notre Dame had a pretty busy weekend last weekend, Mike, in terms of Notre Dame football recruiting. Let's just start with a general question. Give me your recap of what happened last weekend.
Yeah, it meant to be a fly on the wall for that, Darren. It seemed like a really good time in South Bend, and just to kind of give like a glimpse into the weekend, and I'm pulling up the tweet because Mike Goolsby put it out. It was like a quote retweet from a Notre Dame fan, and the Goolsby's comment said, "This is far from the Notre Dame recruiting we're used to," and it's from an Instagram live, and you see Derek Meadows is up, and there is a crowd of the other recruits, the families and whatnot, and they're saying like, "We want Meadows," clap, 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 something like that. Pretty awesome. It might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I will say that if it's not your cup of tea, you're probably not being recruited by Notre Dame. The kids absolutely love the stuff like this for the photo shoot of if you got Derek Meadows. Yeah, Goolsby's comment, this is not the Notre Dame we're accustomed to. I think, when you're talking about like, yeah, would Brian Kelly have done something like this? Darren, I do not know. But yeah, recruiting weekend went well. Really good reviews. Sources had told me right away that it was a great weekend in South Bend. You don't often hear about these visits going bad, Darren. I will say, I hear about them more behind the scenes than you might think. But I'm just not putting bad business out there or people's bad business out there or anything like that. So some of that stuff I'm not going to touch. But anyways, Derek Meadows, Las Vegas Bishop Gorman, arguably the top two or maybe the number one most important visitor for Notre Dame this month. 6'6", 205 pounds, the nation's number 37 overall prospect, number 7 wide receiver, according to the On3 industry ranking. 24/7 Sports already ranks him as a 5-star prospect. Someone I felt is a Notre Dame lean for quite some time. Going back to when he got that offer from the Fighting Irish last June, I put in a prediction, I think the day after or the day of Irish invasion when he got that offer. And, he was at the Pitt game last fall. He returned for a spring visit in March, and then he's got this official visit, which went really well. Talked to him Sunday night after his official visit. He raved about it. Kyle Kelly, my coworker, talked to Derek Meadows' father. Those stories you can find at blueandgold.com. I had my big intel piece published on Monday afternoon titled The Gold Standard. So you can read all of that. Would definitely recommend folks go to blueandgold.com. Great time to sign up. You can join for just $1 on a trial basis. But yeah, this visit went really well. Talking to Meadows, he loved it. He really loved this trip. But as much as Notre Dame would have loved to just have him commit on the spot, he did not do that. He is visiting LSU today, Darren, and he goes to Alabama this weekend. And he had been to Michigan and what was it? Tennessee. I can't remember. But he did a couple official visits before the Notre Dame one, and he's got a couple following it. So he's announcing his commitment sometime July, August, early September. I don't think he has like a set date or anything, but he would like to knock it out in the next couple months. So that's Derek Meadows. Huge visit for Notre Dame. The Irish need to sign or land a couple more receiver commitments, maybe even 3 more. And Meadows very clearly has been the top of the board guy for, again, over a year at this point, Darren. They've been recruiting him for a very long time. Another big receiver target for the Irish is Tanook Hines from Houston to Caney. Had a really good trip to South Bend in April, and this official visit went really well. I haven't been able to catch up with him yet, but from what sources told me, Notre Dame, it looks to be in the pole position here. I think it's a Notre Dame USC battle. Texas is very much in the mix as well, but I think that Notre Dame and USC have the edge for him. And I like where Notre Dame stands the most with Tanook Hines right now. So you got a couple receivers committed. Again, could take 2 or 3 more. Staff would love to have Tanook Hines and Derek Meadows. 13 official visitors on campus this weekend, Darren. 2 of them uncommitted in Tanook Hines and Derek Meadows. But you had with those 11 official visitors of the committed guys, a couple to kind of talk about. We're not going to touch on all of them, but a couple that are always, notable for another reason, or for one reason or another, I should say. Deuce Knight, obviously, we're going to talk about him. This official visit went really well. When I talked to Derek Meadows, he was telling me how Deuce was just really trying to push him to commit, and such a strong connection. Derek told me that Deuce is playing a role in his recruitment. He's very much considering Notre Dame, in part because of how fantastic of a quarterback Deuce is in their relationship. Darren, it doesn't sound like a player to me who might be flipping to Ole Miss like people would want you to believe. I don't know where the heck that's coming from, Darren. Or I know it's the Ole Miss side of things, trying to LeVar Ball, speak it into existence, I guess. But I like Notre Dame to sign Deuce Knight.
This is the greatest con job of all time if he goes to Ole Miss.
I mean, if he ends up at Ole Miss, Darren, I'm going to look like an idiot. I'm sure Rebels fans will troll me for the rest of my life. But
he's here all the time. I mean, what else should we expect at this point?
I don't know, but locked in with Notre Dame as far as I'm concerned, and I'm guessing he'll be back for like 3 or 4 games this fall. Deuce Knight's official visit went really well, and I was told he was on campus Monday too. I was calling him Sunday, trying to get up with him. I wasn't able to connect with him because he was still there. he was on campus Monday, and I'm sure he's out in Los Angeles right now for the Elite 11 finals. So that will be something really neat to see how he does. We know Knight's an outstanding quarterback, Darren, in large part due to his athleticism. He's a freak show. He ran a 4.5 at Irish Invasions camp. You think he was training for a 40 or anything like that? No, I'm sure he just gets up off the couch and runs a 4.5. The kid's a freak athlete, throwing down windmill dunks on the basketball court. That's Deuce Knight. What we know about his athleticism at Elite 11 and some of these like quarterback camp stuff, it's very much just drop back and throw it. But I think Deuce Knight has a really good chance to shine this week just as a pocket passer. Again, he's an outstanding quarterback. He can throw it really well, but it's when he gets outside the pocket that makes him such a special talent at the position. But when he's just confined to being a pocket passer, how does he do? I think he might surprise some people in Los Angeles. And then, Darren, we got to talk about this one. Ivan Taylor. Darren, I don't remember how much we've talked about this last week or if we did. Officially visited Alabama the June 7th weekend. Was at Notre Dame this past weekend. Maybe going to Florida this week for an unofficial. He wasn't there as of recording this, but he had talked about maybe doing that. And then Michigan this weekend. Personally, I'm not super concerned about Michigan. I think it's more going to end up being Notre Dame or Alabama. But listen, he's committed. If you look at his On3 profile, it says committed to Notre Dame. But as far as I'm concerned, this is a dogfight. This is just a battle between Notre Dame and Alabama. This is just my take on it, Darren. All of the commits tweeted out on Saturday a graphic that basically said, hey, 2026 recruits, you should choose Notre Dame, because Saturday was the first day that coaches were allowed to directly contact 2026 recruits. Up to this point, it had been the 2026 recruits had to call Notre Dame. Now Notre Dame can text the 2026 recruits, if that makes sense. Every commit, even Deuce, put something out except for Ivan Taylor. Now, is that something or is that nothing? It's up to you. To me, that's something. Just another way to kind of detail my point of I'm nervous. I am nervous that Notre Dame holds on to Ivan Taylor. At first, I was fairly optimistic. Like, hey, this is big boy recruiting. Like you have to take these battles. There's no official visit policy. No, if you're committed, you can't take. No, that's gone. You're going after big time recruits like Ivan Taylor. You get him committed. He's looking around. Hey, man, win the battle. So we'll see where it goes from here. Here's something really cool, Darren. And okay. I really do apologize for the radio audience, but Elijah Burris, Notre Dame receiver commit, was also on campus, tweeted out a photo. and everyone picked it up. The NFL tweeted this as well. This is what I have up on the screen. The NFL picked up this photo. You got Elijah Burris on the left, standing behind him, just a guy, Plaxico Burris, caught the game-winning or the go-ahead touchdown for the Giants against the Patriots all those years ago. I'm a Dolphins fan, so that meant a lot to me. So you got Plaxico Burris, played for the Steelers, of course. In the center there, you got Ivan Taylor. Behind him, Ike Taylor, who played for the Steelers from, I think it was 03 to 14, Super Bowl champ. And then on the right, you got Jerome Bettis Jr. And of course, standing behind him, you have the Bus, who I think may have played for the Steelers and was decent there, Darren.
Not bad.
And of course, played for Notre Dame. My first thought was, could something like this blowing up on social media, that tweet alone from the NFL has 614,000 views. I just wonder if something like this, tinfoil hat, can help keep Ivan locked in. Just like all those cool connections. And then not even to mention like the Ryan Clark, Jordan Clark thing. I mean, Jordan's, a 1-year rental deal, but still another Steelers connection. I just think this kind of gives Notre Dame some swagger factor, Darren. I don't know. Again, tinfoil hat. Could something like this going viral, just really emphasizing, like I even knew about these connections for a year. Like he's known about this, but then seeing this group of 6 men together and it blowing up on social media, this picture, maybe it makes it more real. I don't know. That's a take that I have right now.
Nothing hurts at this point.
Man.
Little things like that can matter. I want to just touch on the Taylor situation, and you started to go down this road, but Notre Dame is involved in more top 100 players than they have been in probably since the Lou Holtz era. And I don't know if they had all those top 100 lists back then or not. But my point is, Mike, Notre Dame is going deep into the ocean for the elite talent. They are not backing away from anyone. My point is this: shouldn't Irish fans just be prepared for more Ivan Taylor type situations in the future? Because when you are going for the elite talent, the Alabamas, the Ohio States, the USC, on down the line, they're going to be going after those people, and it's going to be extremely competitive. So this might become more the norm. So you just have to take a deep breath while this is going on.
I agree. I agree with you, Darren. I mean, the Peyton Bowens, the Dante Moores, the Keon Keeleys of the world, like those are big time battles that I do think we're seeing. Notre Dame lost all of those. Those guys ended up elsewhere, but yeah, we're seeing those more frequently under Marcus Freeman. I feel like I don't have like data to back it up, but just from me doing this full time, covering Notre Dame since May 2019, covering the last couple years of Brian Kelly, covering the first few years of Marcus Freeman, it does feel like they are, taking these big battles on. And look, do they sign 3-star guys too? Yes, but I get a stronger feeling that the Notre Dame staff has like a really good conviction on some of the 3-star guys they take. They're, you can disagree with some of the guys they get, like a whatever 3-star it is, but look, does the staff know that they're not going to have 100% hit rate on those guys? Yeah, of course they know that they know that they're not all going to pan out. But if they go down the board, they feel convinced that they all kind of will. Like, again, they know they're not, but they think they will because they trust their evaluations, if that makes sense. So I really am impressed with the Notre Dame recruiting operation, and I'm not saying that to pat anyone on the back. I don't think those guys are watching this or listening to this. I don't know. Maybe they are. Maybe they're in the car, and maybe I'm going to get a nice text or something. But I really don't think so. I'm saying this because the recruiting operation at Notre Dame, it's impressive. It is. It's taken a step up. There's no doubt about it in my mind. Now, the one area, if I don't know if you say improvement, but maybe a results thing that we would like to see is when you have this situation take place, like an Ivan Taylor or even a Derek Meadows, someone who they've led for a long time. can you close, right? When is the last time Notre Dame had a committed player who took a lot of other visits stay in the class? I mean, Deion Colsey decommitted and then recommitted. I think Philip Riley a few years ago was the same thing. Most Notre Dame fans don't even know who Philip Riley is because he didn't last long. But it's few and far between to commit and take other visits and stick with the Irish. That's, I think, what we need to see happen. Yeah, they're getting a lot of these big boy battles. And something we don't talk a whole lot about is the guys who are big time and there is no drama. We don't talk about that a lot. Like a Will Black is a 5-star offensive tackle. He needs to be talked about as much as an Ivan Taylor, but of course it's not as much headlines. I'm really rambling here, Darren, but is what I'm saying making sense to you?
Absolutely. Let me just follow up with this. And I know every situation's a little different, and Marcus Freeman is involved with all these kids' recruitments, and the coordinators are involved. But let me just use Ivan Taylor as an example. This is just purely an example. When it gets down to it, when a kid is trying to decide how important is that position coach into what could possibly happen with the kid. Again, head coach and coordinator, they're going to be involved, but does it come down to a lot of times that relationship with the position coach?
I mean, it might with Ivan Taylor. Apparently, Chris O'Leary leaving kind of set this whole thing off.
There you go.
So
Good
Jadon Blair told me that he was thinking about committing to Notre Dame earlier this year, and then Chris O'Leary left, and he kind of backed off of that. And he told me Notre Dame dropped for him a little bit. Now he is saying that his connection with Mike Mickens and Al Golden is stronger than what he had with O'Leary.
There you go.
But, yeah, that my takeaway from that is Chris O'Leary. People didn't give him enough credit. I mean, Chris O'Leary was that there's a staff scapegoat every single year, maybe sometimes warranted, sometimes not. But that one wasn't. I mean, O'Leary got a lot of heat a couple of years ago, but clearly he was doing a phenomenal job.
Yep, no question. Well, that's just a sample of some of the things Mike is talking about on his website, blueandgold.com, his Twitter account, Mike T. Singer. Why don't you offer a little more of a tease what people are going to find coming up at blueandgold.com?
A lot. I mean, Darren, we could have spent time talking about some other Notre Dame recruits as well, but I mean, I just rambled on today. But I mean, Jadon Blair, Notre Dame's in great shape with, even following his Michigan official visit. I think the Irish are in a great spot there. Madden Farimo, the linebacker from Southern California, 11, where Notre Dame's at with him. I logged that prediction we talked about previously. Notre Dame recruiting, I think it's in a really good spot right now. If you like this interview that we do, and if you want more Notre Dame recruiting information, blueandgold.com is the place that you're going to want to be for those daily updates, the daily articles, the daily intel, and then all the football coverage as well as from the actual team. And then we cover basketball, lacrosse, baseball, a good bit as well. So blueandgold.com, again, is your home for Fighting Irish football coverage.